Right now, 94% of Americans depend on technologies that require three things to function: electricity, internet connectivity, and payment systems that work. When commercial real estate crashes in 2026 and infrastructure funding collapses, all three fail simultaneously. The technologies you use every day won't slow down. They'll stop. And the people who understand which ones fail first will have already switched to alternatives that work without power, without networks, without any system at all. If you're relying on any of these 11 technologies, you're betting your survival on infrastructure that's already breaking, not in the future. Right now. Hit subscribe now, because by the time most people realize their phone-dependent life doesn't work anymore, you'll already have the offline alternatives running. These 11 technologies work in growing zones 4 and 5. Wait, wrong script. These 11 technologies fail in a specific sequence, and if you don't know the order, you'll be caught unprepared when the first one drops. Let's start with number 11. Number 11. Digital payment systems. The convenience that becomes a cage. 142 million Americans use digital wallets daily. Venmo, Cash App, Apple Pay, tap-to-pay credit cards. They require internet connectivity, bank server access, and electricity at point of sale. All three fail within 48 hours of economic shock. Here's what people miss about cashless payments. They're not just convenient, they're fragile. Payment processing requires 7 different systems to communicate. Your bank, their bank, the payment network, the merchant processor, the authentication server, the fraud detection system, and the settlement system. If any single point fails, the entire chain breaks. During the 2001 Argentine collapse, digital payment systems went down in 72 hours. ATMs stopped dispensing. Credit cards stopped working. People with bank accounts couldn't access their money. The only currency that functioned was physical cash, and people who'd gone cashless had nothing. Here's what works when payment systems fail. Physical currency in small denominations. Not hundreds, not even 20s. Ones, fives, tens. During crisis, nobody has change. A $100 bill becomes useless because no one can break it. Stock $500 in small bills now. Keep $200 in your vehicle in a hidden location. Keep $50 in your wallet that you never spend. That's your payment system. When digital fails. Most people think, I'll just hit the ATM when things get bad. But ATMs are the first thing that stops working. They require electricity, internet, and physical cash in the machine. When banks limit withdrawals during crisis, ATMs go empty in hours. By the time you realize you need cash, everyone else is in line. The signal you're vulnerable. You haven't used physical cash in over a month. Why it's on the list? Digital payments fail fast and leave you unable to buy anything, even if you have money in the bank. Cash is the backup that works when everything else stops. But the next technology people depend on even more, and it fails just as fast. Number 10. GPS navigation. The system you trust more than your own sense of direction. 87% of Americans use GPS daily. Google Maps, Waze, Apple Maps, built-in car navigation. It requires satellite connection, internet data, and functioning servers. When commercial satellites lose funding and internet service becomes sporadic, GPS degrades within days. Here's the secret about GPS. It's not just satellite signals. Your phone's GPS uses cell towers and Wi-Fi networks to triangulate position faster. That's called assisted GPS. When cell towers go down during grid failure, your GPS accuracy drops from 15 feet to 150 feet, then stops working entirely. Most people have never navigated without it. During Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, GPS stopped working across the island for 6 weeks. Not because satellites failed, but because cell towers and internet infrastructure collapsed. People couldn't find evacuation centers, couldn't navigate to hospitals, couldn't locate family members. Emergency responders got lost in their own city. Here's what works when GPS fails. Paper maps of your region. Not old maps, current ones. Roads change, exits get renumbered, businesses relocate. Buy updated paper maps of your city, county, and state. Cost: $30 total. Learn basic map reading now. Practice navigating without your phone on. The skill degrades if unused. Bonus: offline GPS apps like Maps, that download entire regions for phone use without data. But paper is the backup when your phone dies. Most people think, I'll just remember how to get places. But during crisis, you're not going to familiar locations. You're navigating to supply points, safe zones, family you haven't visited in years, all under stress. Without navigation tools, you get lost. The signal you're vulnerable. You can't navigate to your closest hospital without GPS. Why it's on the list? GPS dependency makes you immobile during crisis. Navigation without it is a skill, and skills degrade without practice. But the next technology controls something even more critical: your access to information itself. Number 9. Internet search. The knowledge that disappears when you need it most. Google handles 8.5 billion searches daily. YouTube hosts every tutorial, every how-to, every piece of information you need. It requires internet infrastructure, data centers with power, and content delivery networks. When electricity becomes rationed and internet service degrades, search stops working within a week. Here's what people get wrong about information access. They think, I can look it up when I need it. But during collapse, you need information about water purification, wound treatment, food preservation, mechanical repairs, exactly when the internet is down. The knowledge you need most becomes unavailable at the worst possible time. During Venezuela's infrastructure collapse, internet access dropped to 4 hours per day, then 2 hours, then nothing outside major cities. People couldn't look up medical information, couldn't watch repair tutorials, couldn't access saved documents on cloud storage. Anyone dependent on just-in-time internet information was functionally illiterate. Here's what works when internet fails. Downloaded offline knowledge now. Download Wikipedia's entire offline database, 90 gigabytes. Download medical guides, repair manuals, survival handbooks. Print critical information. Water purification ratios, medication dosages, first aid procedures. Cost: 128 gigabyte flash drive, $15 plus 2 hours of downloading. Store it in a waterproof case with a backup battery bank. The knowledge is useless if you can't access it without power. Most people save links instead of downloading files. Bookmarks don't work without internet. Cloud storage doesn't work without internet. YouTube saved playlists don't work without internet. If you haven't downloaded it locally, you don't have it. The signal you're vulnerable. All your important documents are in cloud storage only. Why it's on the list? Information access determines survival. Medical emergencies, equipment failures, and resource shortages all require knowledge to solve. When you can't look it up, you're helpless. But the next technology failure is even more immediate. It affects your ability to communicate with anyone. Number 8. Cell phones. The communication device that only works when infrastructure does. 297 million Americans own cell phones. They require cell towers with electricity, fiber optic backhaul internet, and switching stations. During economic collapse, when telecom companies stop maintaining infrastructure, coverage degrades in 2 to 3 days, then fails completely. Here's what nobody tells you about cell phones. They're completely dependent on towers that need power, internet backhaul, and active maintenance. Cell towers have backup batteries lasting 4 to 8 hours. After that, they go dark. In 2008 economic crisis, Argentina saw 40% of cell towers go offline within a week as telecom companies cut maintenance budgets. During the 2021 Texas power crisis, cell service failed across Houston within 18 hours. Not because towers were damaged, but because backup batteries died and nobody could refuel generators. Families couldn't coordinate evacuations. Emergency services couldn't communicate. Everyone with a smartphone had a useless brick. Here's what works when cell networks fail. Two-way radios with no infrastructure needed. Baofeng U V5R radios cost $25 each. They work without towers, without internet, without anything except batteries. Range: 3 to 5 miles in cities, 10 to 15 miles in open areas. Get a set for your family. Program them to the same channel now. Test them monthly. Also, CB radios for vehicle communication. Range: 15 to 20 miles. Cost: $50. Keep spare batteries. Learn radio discipline. Short transmissions, clear language, assume everyone can hear you. Most people think cell phones will keep working. They always have. But cell infrastructure is expensive to maintain. During budget cuts and economic crisis, telecoms prioritize profitable areas. Your neighborhood might not make the cut, and nobody's coming to fix it. The signal you're vulnerable. You've never tested communication with your family without cell service. Why it's on the list? Cell phone dependency creates communication blackout when you need coordination most. Alternative communication tools work when infrastructure fails. But the next technology controls something you use every single day: access to your own money. Number 7. Electronic banking. The account access that vanishes with one server failure. 214 million Americans use online banking. Mobile deposits, balance checks, transfers, bill pay, all require internet, bank servers, and payment processing networks. When banks limit online access during financial crisis, these services go offline in 24 to 48 hours. Here's the mechanism nobody explains. Your money isn't actually in your account. It's a number in a database. To access it, you need bank servers running, authentication systems working, and transfer networks processing. Remove any piece and your money becomes inaccessible even though it exists. Banks shut down electronic access first during crisis to prevent bank runs. During the 2013 Cyprus banking crisis, electronic banking was disabled overnight. People logged in to find service unavailable messages. ATMs were offline. Mobile banking apps showed errors. Your account balance means nothing if you can't access it. This wasn't a system failure, it was intentional. Banks prevent mass withdrawals by cutting electronic access first. Here's what works when electronic banking fails. Physical bank presence plus cash buffer. Open accounts at 2 to 3 different banks, including a local credit union with physical branches. Keep minimum balances to avoid fees but don't concentrate money. Maintain 2 to 3 months' expenses in physical cash at home in a fireproof safe. Not in your main safe. In a decoy safe. Real valuables go in a hidden location. Also, keep current account statements printed monthly. Digital statements aren't accessible without internet. Most people think FDIC insurance protects them. It does, eventually. But during crisis, FDIC reimbursement takes months to years. Cyprus depositors waited 2 years for partial reimbursement. You'll starve waiting for insurance to pay out. The signal you're vulnerable. 100% of your money is in one bank with no physical cash backup. Why it's on the list? Electronic banking creates total dependence on systems designed to restrict access during crisis. Physical banking alternatives work when servers go down, but the next technology failure is more subtle. It controls your access to food itself. Number 6. Refrigeration. The food preservation method that dies with the power grid. 99% of American homes have refrigerators. They require constant electricity, functioning compressors, and refrigerant. When rolling blackouts become permanent during grid instability, refrigeration fails within 4 hours of power loss. Everything inside spoils within 48 hours. Here's what people miss about refrigeration. It's not about keeping food cold. It's about preventing bacterial growth at temperatures below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Once temperature rises above 40 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours, bacteria doubles every 20 minutes. Your food isn't just warm, it's actively becoming toxic. Most people don't know this and eat spoiled food, then need medical care that's unavailable. During the 2003 Northeast blackout, hospitals treated 4,000 cases of food poisoning within a week. People ate refrigerated food that had been without power for 8 to 12 hours, thinking it was fine because it was still cold. It wasn't. The bacteria load was already dangerous. Food poisoning during crisis can be fatal when antibiotics aren't available. Here's what works when refrigeration fails. Salt curing, smoking, and dehydration. These are 1,000-year-old technologies that preserve food without electricity. Buy a food dehydrator now, $60, and learn to use it before crisis. Dehydrated food lasts months without refrigeration. Salt cure meats, smoke fish, can vegetables. These methods work when power doesn't. Also, Root cellar or buried storage maintains 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round without power. Dig a pit, insulate it. Store food. Temperature-stable food lasts weeks instead of hours. Most people stock a freezer full of meat thinking it's prepared. But frozen food becomes your biggest loss when power fails. It all spoils simultaneously. Frozen preparation without backup preservation method means you lose everything at once. The signal you're vulnerable. You have zero food preservation skills that don't require electricity. Why it's on the list. Refrigeration dependency creates sudden total food loss when power fails. Preservation methods that work without electricity prevent starvation. But the next technology controls something even more essential, your access to clean water. Number 5. Municipal water systems. The utility that requires more infrastructure than you realize. 289 million Americans get water from municipal systems. They require electricity for pumps, treatment chemical supply chains, and maintenance crews. When municipal budgets collapse during economic crisis, water service degrades within days, fails within weeks. Here's the secret about water infrastructure. It's not just pipes. Water requires pumping stations with power, treatment facilities with chemicals, pressure systems with maintenance, and distribution networks without leaks. Remove any piece and the system fails. Jackson, Mississippi's water system collapsed in 2022. Not from disaster, but from budget cuts that prevented maintenance. No pumps working, no treatment, no pressure. 150,000 people without water for 6 weeks. During Detroit's 2013 bankruptcy, water service became sporadic in low-income areas. Pumping stations failed. Treatment plants reduced hours. Water pressure dropped to zero in some neighborhoods for days at a time. This wasn't temporary, it lasted 3 years. Anyone dependent on municipal water had nothing. Here's what works when municipal water fails. Rainwater collection plus filtration. Set up rain barrels now. 1 inch of rain on 1,000 square feet roof equals 600 gallons collectible. That's 2 months of drinking water for 4 people. Install gutters that feed into food-grade barrels, $40 each. Add a Sawyer mini filter, $20 for bacterial removal. Boil before drinking if possible. Also, know your local water sources, creeks, ponds, retention basins. Map them now. During crisis, non-potable water becomes potable with proper filtration and treatment. Store water treatment tablets. 500 tablets for $15. Most people store bottled water thinking that's enough. But stored water runs out. You need renewable water sources and treatment capability. Stored water is a buffer, not a solution. Also, storing water in your garage where it freezes and bottles crack makes it useless. The signal you're vulnerable. You have no water collection or treatment capability and don't know where your nearest natural water source is located. Why it's on the list. Municipal water dependency creates immediate life-threatening dehydration when systems fail. Collection and treatment capability works when infrastructure doesn't. But the next technology failure affects something you probably haven't even thought about. Your ability to stay warm. Number 4. Central heating. 87 million American homes use natural gas heating. They require gas pipeline infrastructure, electricity for ignition and fans, and functioning thermostats. When natural gas becomes rationed during economic crisis, heating service becomes intermittent within weeks, stops completely within months. Here's what people don't understand about gas heating. It's not just gas. Modern furnaces require electricity to operate igniters, blowers, and safety controls. Even if gas flows, without power, your furnace is a useless box. And gas flow itself requires massive infrastructure, compression stations, pipeline networks, distribution systems. During budget cuts, maintenance stops and leaks develop. Unsafe conditions force shutdowns. Texas 2021 proved this. Gas infrastructure failed not from cold but from lack of weatherization investment. During the 1998 Russian economic collapse, natural gas service to residential areas was cut to 4 hours per day, then stopped entirely in many regions. People froze to death in their apartments with non-functioning heating systems. Elderly mortality increased 400% during winter months. This wasn't Siberia. This was Moscow. Modern infrastructure. Economic collapse. Predictable result. Here's what works when central heating fails. Secondary heat sources requiring no infrastructure. Wood stove or propane heater installed now, before crisis. Wood stove cost $400 to $800 plus installation. Provides heat and cooking capability with no electricity, no gas lines, nothing except firewood you source yourself. Propane heater alternative. Mr. Buddy heater, $100, plus 20-pound propane tanks, $40 each. One tank provides 50 hours heat for 200 square feet space. Stock 10 tanks equals 500 hours. Also, thermal sleeping bags rated to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. You can survive without heating a house if you have proper sleeping gear. Most people think, I'll buy a space heater when I need it. Space heaters require electricity. When power is out, they're useless. Also, running a space heater 24/7 during crisis draws attention and overloads circuits causing fires. Secondary heat sources need to work without grid power. The signal you're vulnerable. Your only heat source requires both electricity and gas, with no backup system. Why it's on the list? Central heating dependency creates life-threatening cold exposure when infrastructure fails. Secondary heat sources work when gas and power don't. But the next technology affects something you use every hour of every day, and you don't even notice it until it's gone. Number 3. Electric lights. The technology that creates total helplessness after dark. Every occupied building in America uses electric lighting. They require functioning power grid, circuit breakers, and bulbs. When rolling blackouts become permanent and electricity becomes rationed, lighting fails nightly. Here's what people miss about electric lighting. It's not just convenience, it's capability. Without light, you can't cook safely, can't read critical information, can't provide medical care, can't defend your home, can't do basic tasks. Humans are completely non-functional in darkness. During grid failure, darkness isn't an inconvenience. It's a vulnerability multiplier that makes every other problem worse. During South Africa's ongoing load-shedding crisis, rolling blackouts, areas go dark for 4 to 8 hours daily. Crime increases 300% during blackout periods because criminals know residents are blind and vulnerable. Home invasions spike. Accidents increase. Medical emergencies go untreated, all because people can't see. This is happening right now in a developed nation with modern infrastructure. Here's what works when electric lights fail. Multi-layer lighting strategy. Layer 1. Headlamps, hands-free. Buy 4 LED headlamps at 300 plus lumens, $15 each, plus rechargeable AA batteries. Layer 2. Lanterns, area lighting. Get 2 LED lanterns with 1,000 plus lumens, $25 each. Layer 3. Candles. Backup. Stock 100 long-burn candles in fireproof containers. Layer 4. Solar. Solar-powered LED lights, $10 each. Recharge during day. Provide 6 hours light nightly. Cost for complete system, $200. Also critical. Blackout curtains or blankets to prevent light leaking. Visible light attracts attention during crisis. Most people buy one flashlight and think they're prepared. One flashlight for a family of 4 means 3 people in darkness. Also, non-rechargeable batteries have 5 to 7 years shelf life. If your emergency batteries are 10 years old, they're dead. Check dates. Rotate stock. The signal you're vulnerable. You have fewer lights than people in your household, and they all require disposable batteries. Why it's on the list? Electric lighting dependency creates total helplessness after dark. Multi-layer lighting strategy works when grid power fails. But the next technology controls something crucial: your ability to preserve what you've prepared. Number 2. Electronic security systems. The protection that abandons you when you need it most. 34 million American homes have electronic security systems. Ring doorbells, Nest cameras, ADT monitoring, smart locks, FSS. When internet service degrades and power becomes unreliable, security systems fail within days. Here's what people don't understand about modern security. It's cloud-dependent. Your Ring camera doesn't save footage locally. It uploads to Amazon servers. When internet fails, recording stops. Your smart lock doesn't work without Wi-Fi and app connectivity. When power fails, electronic locks default to whatever position they're in, often locked, trapping you inside. Your monitoring service can't alert police when communication networks are down. During crisis, your security system becomes a liability that gives false sense of protection while providing none. During Hurricane Ian in Florida 2022, electronic security systems failed within 6 hours of power loss. Cameras went dark. Alarms stopped functioning. Smart locks froze. Monitoring services lost connectivity. Meanwhile, burglaries increased 250% in evacuation zones because criminals' new security systems were offline. Technology-dependent security is no security. Here's what works when electronic security fails. Mechanical security plus human vigilance. Replace smart locks with heavy-duty deadbolts requiring physical keys, $40 each. Install window security film that prevents break-ins, $200 for whole house. Set up mechanical alarm. Door chimes that ring when opened, $15. Most important. Neighborhood watch network established now. Exchange contact info with neighbors. Set up two-way radios for communication. Establish check-in protocols. Human network beats electronic system during infrastructure failure. Also, visible deterrence work. Dogs, security signage, reinforced entry points, motion-activated lights with battery backup. Most people think my security system will protect me during crisis. But electronic systems fail precisely when you need protection most. Also, believing cameras prevent crime. They don't. They record crime happening. Physical hardening and human awareness prevent crime. The signal you're vulnerable. Your entire security system requires internet and electricity with no mechanical backup. Why it's on the list? Electronic security dependency creates vulnerability during infrastructure failure. Mechanical security plus human networks work when technology doesn't. But the technology at number 1 fails faster than all the others combined. And it's in your pocket right now. Number 1. Smartphones. The device that makes you completely dependent on infrastructure. 301 million Americans own smartphones. They require cellular networks, internet connectivity, electricity for charging, app servers, and cloud services. Smartphones consolidate GPS navigation, communication, information access, payment systems, and security into one device. When infrastructure fails, every function stops simultaneously. Here's what nobody tells you about smartphone dependency. You've outsourced your entire capability to one device that requires perfect infrastructure to function. No power, dead phone, no cell service, can't call. No internet, no maps, no information, no apps, no cloud servers, lost all your data. Modern smartphones have created learned helplessness at civilizational scale. People can't navigate, can't calculate, can't communicate, can't access information, can't survive without a device that only works when everything else works. During the 2021 Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp global outage, just 6 hours, emergency services were overwhelmed because people couldn't communicate. Businesses couldn't process payments. Families couldn't coordinate. This was a voluntary shutdown affecting only meta services, and society nearly broke. During actual infrastructure collapse, it's permanent. Smartphone-dependent people become functionally helpless within hours. Here's what works when smartphones fail. Distributed capability across independent tools. Paper maps for navigation. Two-way radios for communication. Written emergency contacts memorized, not stored. Cash for payments. Printed critical documents. Physical books for information. Each function separated onto tools that work without infrastructure. Cost, $150 total. Also critical. Dumb phone as backup. Old-style Nokia that only calls, texts, battery lasts 7 days, works on 2G networks that stay operational longer than 4G, 5G. Cost, $30. Keep it charged in your vehicle. Most people think, I'll just charge my phone in my car. Car charging requires your vehicle's battery, which drains during extended use. Also, believing portable battery banks solve this. Battery banks run out. Solar chargers are too slow for daily smartphone use. The real solution is reducing dependence on the smartphone itself. The signal: you're vulnerable. You cannot navigate, communicate, or function for 24 hours without your smartphone. Why it's on the list? Smartphone dependency creates total capability collapse when infrastructure fails. Distributed tool systems work when centralized devices don't. Now, here's what didn't make the list. Social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they'll all go down during infrastructure collapse. But here's why they're not on this list. Nobody actually needs them for survival. They're entertainment, not essential technology. When they fail, you lose connection to strangers posting about their lunch. You don't lose navigation, communication, or payment capability. Social media failure is annoying. The 11 technologies on this list are survival critical. Also didn't make the list: streaming services. Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, all require internet and electricity. But again, entertainment isn't essential. You can survive without streaming video. You can't survive without water treatment, heat, or light. The technologies on this list are the ones that determine whether you live comfortably, struggle, or die during extended infrastructure failure. The pattern is clear. Convenience technologies you can live without, infrastructure technologies you can't. Here's your reality check. Every technology on this list works perfectly right now. You press a button, lights turn on. You tap your phone, payment processes. You adjust the thermostat, house gets warm. That reliability creates complacency. You assume these systems will always work because they always have worked. But infrastructure requires maintenance, investment, and stability. Economic collapse removes all three. The time to build alternative capability is now, while you can still buy the tools, while you can still learn the skills, while the systems haven't failed yet. During the Great Depression, families who still had non-electric tools survived. Families who'd thrown away their manual equipment because electricity is better struggled. During every infrastructure collapse in modern history, the pattern repeats. Technology-dependent people suffer disproportionately. These 11 technologies fail in sequence. Payment systems go first, then GPS, then internet, then cellular, then banking, then refrigeration, then water, then heating, then lighting, then security, then smartphones. By the time smartphones stop working, you're 11 failures deep into infrastructure collapse. The question isn't whether you can survive without technology. The question is whether you've built the alternative capabilities before the technology fails. The window to prepare is measured in months, not years. When commercial real estate crashes in 2026 and municipal budgets collapse, infrastructure maintenance stops. That's when the failures start. You can wait and hope systems hold. Or you can build alternative capability now while the tools are available and cheap. What technology are you most dependent on that you couldn't live without? And if you're serious about infrastructure independence, hit subscribe. Because this channel is about building capability before crisis, not scrambling after.